Morning, everyone. We're out here on our 205 Alumacraft, Team Energy Powersports. It's mid-July, and again, we're looking into other programs as throughout the season things change. And today we're fishing off the drop, Scarborough Bluffs. Not typically our niche water, you know, this is, like we always mention, a little deeper of a program here, which we all have our strengths. This one isn't, but we're hoping to improve on that, as today we welcome out Mike Fox and Matt Bartlett, Team Loonatics, and they are big on meat. And, you know, we go back and forth in conversations, sharing notes, and they are completely different. So it's exciting to get these guys out here. They've become pretty annual top 10s in our tournament circuit, and they've had a couple close seconds in their last few events. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to kind of get a bit of read on how these guys run their meet. And today they're big on Underdog cut bait, which is a great product. And, you know, there's also the big one. So two great choices of meat. But yeah, let's tune in here and see if these guys can give us some pointers. Jake's hooked up in here. We introduced Jake last week. You know, he's the new member of Team Energy Powersports, and right away he's into a fish on a 400 weighted steel. We don't commonly use the weighted steel, but it's obviously working, as it hasn't been long and it's already fired. To be honest, let's see the length of this fight, and let's see how Jake makes out with it. I appreciate you guys joining us out here this morning. We got another gorgeous day for it. You know, we got a great early start. Probably going to warm up a bit later in the day, but yeah, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having us.
This isn't your home water either, right? From what I understand, you're a bit further out east.
Yeah, I'm out of Bowmanville, Port Darlington. Yeah, been about 15 years out of Port Darlington now.
Wow. Okay, nice. Yeah, very cool. And I know you guys are pretty partial to meat, but it sounds like most of your rods that are in the water, you got flashes of meat down, eh?
Yeah, I don't run spoons once the salmon show up. Very rarely run a spoon if I'm going for trout or whatever, but I'll throw the probably 3 out of the 4 or 5 out of the 6 will be meat, and probably one fly just to keep them honest. And the flies definitely take their shots, as you know, but definitely I find meat catches more fish, in my opinion.
Very cool. So I guess you're, as a tournament team, you're focusing mostly on just big kings, right? You're looking for leaderboards or derby fish, right?
Yeah, and usually fishing deeper with the meat.
That's what I was going to touch on. Like, obviously the drop, I mean, for what I understand, you know, it's a deep program, right?
Yeah.
And does this kind of translate to you guys fishing out east? You got the same kind of waters, or?
Well, we're like a plateau out in Bowmanville. It's just a flat. It takes quite a while. So we don't have a drop or anything like that. There's no structure out in Bowmanville. So we're usually fishing a couple feet off the bottom in the mud. And yeah, they're if you look at the downrigger weight, she's pretty beat up from touching bottom, as a lot of the deep ones are. And,
really, so that's a big part. And then, you know, I hope you guys don't feel too out of sorts without any probes today. Is temperature a big part of your program?
Depends on the time of season. Like this time of season, 100%, and currents are huge out here, as you know. Probes, so important, as you know.
For you, okay,
we
perfect.
run a fish hawk, and speed changes year to year, I find too, and used to run a lot of 1.8, 1.9, and it's 2.2, 2.3 this year, so that probe makes a big difference. It really does.
So, just to ask you, what would make your speed change? Is that different tuning baits, or I mean, I've stuck with the same quicker speed. It does vary 1 or 2 point 1 or 2 here and there.
Yep.
But what's your theory behind that?
That's all really dependent on the time of year, I find too. Like later in the season, they go slow and low, trying to touch the bottom. Usually 1.8, 1.9. Fish are lazy. Find the fish are more active right now, and they're chasing, and it's on the fish and the temps are the big one right now. The temperatures are terrible over in Bowmanville, where you're able to get a little deeper out here. We're looking for 40s, and we're not really seeing 40s out in Bowmanville unless you're going 120 plus and deep.
Oh, really? Okay. So let's touch on that. What is your ideal temp that you want your baits at?
I'd like 42, 46, somewhere in there for. And they're all over the map. They can, but I find the colder water definitely. The 42, 46 has the bigger matures in it, in my opinion.
Very cool. Yeah, I know. The last tournament there, the King of Kings, you guys were actually fishing pretty close to the team that but nudged you out there by a couple pounds. But from what I heard back in the shore talk, I mean, you guys put quite a few more fish in, right? I mean, they seemed
made
like they had a lot of quality.
We had a good day actually on tourney day. I think we probably had over 20 shots. We fished off filtration and 150, 180 feet of water, and was a 130 rigger was the good rod that took a couple big kings that day. 130,
that's getting deeper, right? I mean, as we've often touched on, we do like shallower fishing. But I'm always open to learn, and I really
100%.
appreciate you guys kind of pointing out some of this stuff. I know it started off pretty hot and heavy with that early bite, but I'm sure we got to contribute some of that to the meat program, right?
Yep, yeah, and once again, early mornings are a little bit of everything, but once the fish push out, it's good to get back to the program, get it going.
Perfect. All right, looks like Jig's got this one coming pretty close finally. So let's net this up and maybe touch on a few of your key colors and lengths and all that. Yeah, that'd be appreciated. So I see, that you mentioned this is your starting lineup, and honestly, the colors are very similar to ours. I'm big on the green, the white, and a little bit of chrome highlight. Let's kind of touch a bit on, I see kingfishers.
Yep.
What's your theory behind them?
I find the kingfishers they're good for the meat on the riggers. They got a lot of drag on the divers, and coppers are okay, but couldn't really run them with the lead core. On the morning, we run twinkies or clean, depending on the morning, and let the fish tell us what's happening. Usually, sometimes we're going to be twinkies, and sometimes we're going to be without, and make the adjustments right off the hop, because it changes day to day, as you know.
I agree. Your starting lineup's really important, as you can base your day off. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Different bite times can throw you off, but it's good to have something to focus on and then build off that. The little guys, so this is for your Dipsies, I'm guessing?
Yep. Yeah, run Pro Trolls on the Dipsies just because of the drag. And most of the Pro Trolls have Twinkie rigs on them. I think there's a couple that don't have, that we don't run clean. We find the Twinkies are really good on the divers.
And your theory behind Twinkies, I mean, it's kind of funny. I'm such a fly guy, and you're a meat guy, but this is almost like a combination. I mean, just to throw it out there, you think they ever hit the flies, or they're just focusing on that back bait?
No, I'm sure they hit the flies. I'm sure they hit the paddles. I'm sure they've hit everything. And when you come in and you have a fish hooked in the belly or something like that, that something was amiss.
No, that's a pretty good theory. That something to transition in. I mean, obviously the meat's working this morning, so you got my attention there. lead lengths, can we kind of touch on those?
Yep.
I see you already have one of these guys out. Kind of the pool noodle idea is absolutely incredible. It just helps keep everything tidy, which you know, we're really big on. A clean boat fish is at its best.
Yeah.
So
off season too, actually, for putting the stuff away and clean it all up at the end and put it on pool noodles lightly so it doesn't hold the memory.
Yeah.
And makes just pool noodles. There's at least 50 of these floating around my house at all times, and my wife's a good sport about them. So.
Yeah. That's,
you think we're big swimmers, but we're not.
No, it's a great idea. So yeah, let me hold this end here. Yep. What are we looking at? I guess that's about a 6 or an 8 foot lead.
Yeah, it's over 6. Definitely like the big leads. The kingfishers, they have a big kick on them on the riggers, and I do run shorter leads on some. They're all not the same, and that's one of those, let the fish tell you, right? Sometimes they like a longer lead, and sometimes they don't. So it's all trial, see what's working, and take it from there.
So your go-tos, you'll have maybe duplicates of this with different length leads, or you'll just switch it out, you'll have a few pre-tied?
Yeah, on my go-tos, I'll have 2 or 3 because I've learned a couple of hard lessons in the past of dropping paddles pre-fishing, and not being able to have that the next day is a tough one. So usually on anything good, I'll have 1 or 2 of them, or 2 of them anyways, just ready to go. And then I have everything ready to tie at all times. So we got to tie different leads, and even tying twinkie rigs on the boat when we're out. If we have to do that, I'll do that as well.
Yeah, I see with the twinkie here, you kind of, you know, I've seen guys use bobber stops or whatnot. So you have a bead and you've actually tied on the outside of it to lock it in place, right?
Yep, I just loop it back through. I used to use toothpicks, and there we go. The toothpicks actually slide once they get wet. So
well, there goes your kingfisher again, hooked up on our 400 weighted. So let's let Matt get into this fish. All right, this is exciting. That's a couple that weighted steel's gone, and it's definitely a bit more work to bring in, but you know, if it's bringing extra fish, it's great. I just wanted to kind of touch on what's your go-to head. You know, from what I've experienced before, a lot of guys are always bending, tuning their baits, and you guys are just throwing down. You're confident in your spin. So what heads are you using?
On all these rigs here, we have hotfish bait heads, and find that hotfish are actually good out of the package. You can pretty much put a chunk of meat in there, and it will be spinning the way it's supposed to spin. I also run John King, which is a place out of Michigan. They're a bit bigger than the hotfish. They got some good stuff, but they're a little pricey. And Reese Davis, I run some Reese Davis, and the Reese Davis you got to tune occasionally.
So yeah, a little more maintenance, and I guess the consistency of your bait helps too, right? I know Mike, he takes a lot of pride in tuning all his strips to pretty much consistent sizing. So you know, and the big one as well, you know, they've got that dialed in. I find with a lot of guys that make their own baits, the consistency might not be there, and they have to tune it a bit more, right? Yeah,
100%. Mike's the Underdog in particular is fantastic meat. It is right out of the package. I don't think out of the hundreds or thousands I've used, I haven't had to tune too many or touch any of them. They're all good to go right out of the package.
Yeah, it was great. You know, I know Mike always did good in the tournaments, and that was kind of his specialty. And once he went public and started making it an offering to the fishing community, I think you know, it's a bold move to do that when you got a secret bait. But if it's bringing guys more fish in the boat, it's a great opportunity, right?
Yeah, it is for sure.
Yeah, no, that's great. All right, perfect. Appreciate that. What do you think? Pulling like a bigger one, eh?
Yeah, it feels like a mature.
Nice.
It's on a deep rigger, so.
Yeah, what was that rigger at?
That was a 120 rigger, I think, in 130 feet of water.
Seems to be a go-to depth, eh? I often, you know, can stuff some stuff down there. What temperature was that at? One that works, obviously.
Yeah, assuming colder than the surface.
Well, I will say, you know, as much as we might not have probes down, we're not going blind. You know, you can often, you not pinpoint it, but you can feel the depth of a cannonball as well too, right? Like, you know, if it comes up foggy or cold, you know you're into that colder water. But still, you know.
And like you said, there's no right and wrong, but I think you just get used to you guys.
Oh man, you got to be in your comfort zone.
Fish, and you know, I look at the probe a lot. Like I look at the fish hawk probably more than the graph, to be honest, just because you know it's what you get used to.
And I mean, I'm not going to doubt. I mean, a lot of anglers do, and you guys obviously are successful anglers as well, right? So it's no, I don't say I'll ever go that way. I just comfortable without these things, right? So. So Matt, on that Dipsy fish that we brought in, I'm going to be honest, it's a bit more hectic than I'm used to. With Jake on the rod and you hand bomb, is that your typical tournament program? Yeah.
Yeah. Every diver fish is a 3-man operation in a tournament, and we've just we went to longer leads because the short ones weren't going, and we just stretched them back, and now we're kind of like 18, 20 feet consistently, and one guy on the rod, one guy hand bombs, and we net a fish. It gets a little chaotic when you're doubled and tripled sometimes, but make it work, and we just feel like we get more bites that way.
Oh, it went smoother than I honestly expected. Once I saw it all going down, I was concerned, but no, not at all. That was smooth. I mean, I've always typically gone short leads, and like I've always said, a lot of my fishing techniques are built around with my clients chartering. You know, to try to do that with the client would be, you know,
yeah, I don't
pretty
think
hectic, right?
I don't think it's realistic. Yeah, sometimes with the new people, but you know, we've been doing it for a while, and you know, don't get me wrong, we've dropped some probably board fish at the back of the boat because of it, but you know, we still laugh it off, and we feel like we might not have got that bite without.
And I was going to say, obviously, it's working. So, even with that extra effort, you're still running those longer leads. So that's interesting. Yeah. No, I always enjoy learning new things like that. And I think with the right crew, but if you're out fishing solo with someone else, you know, would you cut your leads up? Obviously, you got to just to net the fish, right?
Yeah, I think Mike does more solo fishing than myself, and he definitely doesn't.
And the kids help land a nice fish on that's a bit chaotic, yeah. But I don't touch about the leads.
Well, I guess adding more challenge is kind of part of it, right?
Spices it up,
yeah. No,
like
I
the
agree.
excitement.
Yeah.
Until it all falls apart.
Well, I can't say I think I'll be changing my program up, but it's always good to have an open mind on that, right? And I mean, yeah, Dipsy's, I guess they could be an attractor at some points, but if they're turning fish away, then you spread that lead out and yeah, tidying it up. So what's your typical lead lengths on your riggers then?
Typically our deep rigger will be like 10, 15 feet, and then our higher rigger will stretch back maybe to 20, 25 feet. We'll switch it up if we got streakers in our riggers on the graph and they're not going. Sometimes we'll pin one right in 5-6 feet, and that's what it takes to get them to bite sometimes. And other times we'll stretch them back another 10-15 feet, and that'll work. So it's kind of, you got to feed them what they want some days.
And I've seen that actually. You guys have been pretty quick changing stuff out and changing lead lengths, which is obviously working. We're having a pretty successful day. And kind of, I know you're more around temp. Like, how far will you space your deep and your high rigger out?
Usually we try to stay at least 20 feet apart. But if the fish are on the bottom, especially late season, we'll park both our riggers in the mud.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like we'll keep them, you know, maybe one 5 feet off the bottom and one pretty much in the mud.
And then with with your lead lengths, obviously you'll never get tangled up or anything like that. No, we're focusing 2 riggers in the same depth range.
No, we haven't. Usually, if the riggers are tight, we'll keep the leads a little bit tighter,
Okay.
so you don't have too much going on down there. But no, we don't typically tangle them.
Very cool. Well, that was awesome, guys. I appreciate you coming out and kind of sharing some of your techniques as, I don't know, we did about a dozen fish. So yeah, no, it definitely works. And I just always enjoy opening my eyes and my program to new stuff. I don't know, I'm going to be honest, those long leads would take a bit getting used to, or at least I'd have to bring one of you guys along. But yeah, that's interesting, really interesting information. You know, I look forward to competing against you guys in the next 2 tournaments. You know, it's always fun when challenging against good teams. It's like the whole field, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I think it adds to it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you know, shaking your buddy's hands when they're on the podium, I think is no better feeling if you're yourself there, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
awesome. Well, look forward to it, and hopefully we see you guys up in the leaderboard the rest of the summer, or you guys get that first win. I know it's not far away. You guys
close.
are right there.
Oh, thanks for having us, Nick.
Yeah,
Ah,
thanks
it's
a
a
lot.
pleasure.
Appreciate it. Good
Thank
day.
you.
Thanks, guys.
So as always, guys, you know, if you enjoy this this content, as we really enjoy bringing to you guys, you know, like and subscribe to the channel, and always reach out with any questions or comments. You know, even these guys are pretty interactive with it. So if we have any key features of their cut bait that you guys want a bit more information on, we can reach out to them and pass that along. So yeah, look forward to our next one. See if probably going to head into some stager fishing, which we're pretty familiar with our flies there, but I don't know. Team Loonatics is pretty confident in their meat there as well, so hopefully we could offer a bit more extra outside of our typical stager program. But honestly, look forward to it. A couple more tournaments. Hopefully we can get up on the leaderboards, and looking forward to it. Thanks.